G'day guys, Matt Brand here. Yes, this is my 2007 SsangYong Chairman. It is an ultra luxury limo and ultra rare too, and it was a total failure here in very bright Australia. The sun is killing me right now. Now, I have made a few videos on the car already and I'll link them down in the description below of me buying it, the history of it, etc. But in today's video, we're gonna review the shit out of my 2007 SsangYong Chairman. We're gonna talk through the exterior, look at the interior, we're gonna launch it, see how quickly this thing is from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. We'll of course drive it, see how luxury it is, and then we'll end on why you should 100% pick up this ultra luxury S-Class ripoff. Okay, let's get straight into it. Okay, as always, let's start with up front. Now, if you think that this looks like a Mercedes, it actually is. You see, SsangYong has gone in and out of bankruptcy multiple times. At one point, Mercedes owned a large percentage of shares in SsangYong, God knows why. And under license from Mercedes, SsangYong was able to build the body, engine, and transmission all from different Mercedes. So the body is a W124 E-Class that's been stretched out to make it ultra luxurious. The engine is an M104 inline 6-cylinder, a very famous, very reliable engine because it's over-engineered. One of the last over-engineered engines from Mercedes before the accountants stepped in. But all of this was built in Korea, in South Korea. Really super interesting. So yes, these headlights, they do look Mercedes-esque. You have these LED strips down the bottom, which look really cool. You've got a couple of halogen lights, very, very bright. You have a bunch of chrome here. You can also notice the two-tone paint here. This was a very rare option for this car, and I'm really glad it's got it. Looks super luxurious. The grille is a very classic Mercedes grille. And here you can see the SsangYong hood ornament. Yes, a staple of luxury. It has anti-maiming features, so it moves around in case you hit someone. And no joke, this is the official explanation of the logo. It's two dragons intertwined rising up to heaven. If that's not the most convoluted logo description ever, I don't know what is. But yeah, I love the way that this thing looks from the front. It's got a long bonnet. It's awesome. Let's look at the side. So hopefully the camera can do this car justice. It is so long. 5.1 meters. This is an extended wheel-based E-Class. It's huge, and you'll see the benefits of that inside. It's a limo. Anyway, let's start with these wheels here. They are comically small compared to the enormous body. Pretty common for the year. So you get 16-inch wheels here with the fattest tires I have seen on any modern day car. If we come across the side here, you can see that this is the CM600S. That means that this is the second from the highest range of all the Chairmans made. You know, there was a CM500, CM400, and there was only one above this, which was even more long and luxurious. Got no idea how, because this thing is already super luxury. You have mirrors here, pretty standard, though they are folding. You get a sunroof here, which is one of the most rare options of this car. Hardly any of these came with it, and mine's got it. Let's keep going. You got this chrome on the door handles, and look, SsangYong badge there. Got no idea what this is, but I'm pretty sure that's aftermarket. And yeah, it's just, it's a bloody workout walking to the other side of this car. Let's talk about the back. Now, the bum on this thing, I think looks really cool. You have these LED tail lights here. They are super bright. You've got more chrome stripping. Again, two-tone paint, love that. You've got some more lights here, the Chairman badge. SsangYong badge, of course. Who doesn't want to see two dragons intertwined rising up to heaven? And yes, the sensors have been fixed. It finally works, and I've installed a camera there as well. So it's much easier to park this thing, because before, when this wasn't working, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, it was too big. Oh yes, and our dual exhausts down there, which they sound awful, but you could take a listen anyway, weirdos. So yeah, I love the way that this thing looks. Would I call it a chick magnet? Probably not, but I think it looks awesome. It's so quirky, so weird, it's right up my alley. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section just below that like button. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you could go down there, hit the subscribe button, join the Matt Brand Cars' saucy community. I will be buying a bunch more of these kind of cars in the future. Some more planned, so you don't want to miss those. Okay, let's talk interior. Okay, let's talk about the interior now, because this is an ultra luxury car, and there's no better place to see that than inside. In terms of material choice, you know, you get soft materials pretty much everywhere. You get this beautiful leather on the doors, it's scrunched too. The only thing I don't really like is this really fake wood here, because it's super fake, but whatever. It kind of elevates the interior. I've left the car on because it's a hot day today, but let me show you how this thing is super luxury. The temperature control here will stop when you hit 18 degrees or 32 degrees. It won't move anymore. It's got a lockout on it. That is attention to detail. There's some other things in here too. You've got this pop-out cup holder here, so you can make it 2 cup holders. And here is a little ashtray or coin holder as it is now because we don't smoke. And it's got a little magnet in it. So it hooks up to the bottom, it won't move around. And actually for a 17-year-old car, the trim has held up pretty well. The only issue is that this here has fallen out of its little socket, but whatever. Here you've got an amazingly well-dampened storage area with a 12-volt socket. The previous owner had put in another 3 12-volt sockets and 2 USB ports. Of course, it doesn't work anymore, so it's just annoying for my knee. Now, you might be wondering why the radio was covered up by a quad lock thing, and the answer is I don't know. Dad did it, but it doesn't really matter because the screen wasn't working anyway. The whole thing really needs to be replaced. The stereo works, it's just the LCD that doesn't. I love this button here, the air recirculator button. It's got a sensor inside the cabin, so it can tell when to pull in air from outside or inside, depending on the air pollution conditions. We got a little glove box here. It's not the biggest, but it is felt lined with a valet lockout there. This is luxury, you valet it. These seats are super duper comfy. They are definitely lounge chairs. They're not gonna hook you in as you turn a corner or go through Saucy Corner as we will soon, but it doesn't matter. They're super comfortable, electronically adjustable for the driver and the passenger with memory seats too. This steering wheel is crap. It is from a late 80s Mercedes and it feels like it. It's enormous, it's huge, and it's so cumbersome to turn. And quite clearly the radio controls here are an afterthought. But look, even this old Mercedes switchgear here feels kind of crap. But the good thing is that it is an electronically adjusting steering wheel, so that's luxury. Oh, speaking of electronically adjusting, even the mirror here is adjusted using the mirror controls. It's so overkill, but luxury, right? Oh, how could I forget about these? The dual sun visors, and they're lined in like this really nice velvet. Up in front of you is your instrument cluster, incredibly basic. It's so basic, but it's fine. Nothing to write home about. Oh, and how could I forget the center armrest with its felt lining to it and the sunroof. What an optional extra. I'm really proud of this. I don't know if you can tell. I'm really proud of it. Let's go talk about the back seats. Take a look at this seat here that I'm about to get into. It slides back as you open the door because yes, in the back seats you have comfort access. So let's get in. Oh, cocooned in luxury already. Now this seat here is actually all the way back and this seat has slid me forward. I don't like that. So I can use these controls here to move it forward. Or how about I just pull down my center armrest here, which is, ooh, nice leather. You can lift it up, get a lot of storage space in there. Ooh, 12-volt socket. Ooh, some leather card holders there. Well, let's press this button here. Ooh, luxury. And I think let's just move this seat forward, shall we? It's annoying me. Now, I'm gonna move it back so you can see some of the features on the back of this chair. But once you're back here, oh my God, it is so comfortable. As I said, we can slide and recline these seats, which is insanity. Oh my God. Not only do we have these really fancy map pockets here, we've also got, yes, a picnic table on the back like an airline. Let's push this down so it's in a better position, push that seat forward at the same time. And now I can sit back here and work on my laptop. I can eat my lunch, whatever I want to do because I'm rich in my $5,000 SsangYong Chairman. This thing is insane. You've got a little reading light up here so it shines down on your fancy book. Even the headrest comes up like that and we can adjust it however the hell we like. I could sleep back here. It's insane. By the way, this seat also slides and reclines. What? I swear to God, the quality back here is nicer. Soft touch up here, more fake wood, leather scrunch there too. Got more ashtrays and 12-volt sockets. I guess that's really for smoking, but still. This is the place to be in a SsangYong Chairman. This thing is 100% a limo, and it's awesome. This is why I love it, and this is why it's so quirky, it's so weird. Oh God, the quirks even continue, by the way, because here you get cup holders, 2 different sizes, except they're heated or cooled. You can have them either way you like, and yes, it still works. My favorite pastime is to sit here with Maccas and just eat it. I like doing that. Even the grab handles, they're enormous. Look at it. This is really where you notice that this is a long wheel based car. The back doors are bigger than the front doors, and that's because you get so much room back here, it's not funny. Let's go talk boot space. Now, to get into the boot of the SsangYong Chairman is a bit of an ordeal. You either press a button on the inside, which is a 30-meter walk, or you can open it using your key like an old man. But once you're in here, you'll see that there is an enormous amount of room back here, plenty of practicality with your storage nets and whatever. The one thing is you can't put down the back seats because of all the electronics and moving parts behind them, so it is what it is. Of course, there's heaps of carpeting, soundproofing, like you would expect for a luxury car. I also love all the warnings, like if you're gonna open this on a hill, make sure you put woodchucks underneath the wheels. Who the hell's gonna do that? The one thing as well I love about this is when we close it and we lock it, listen to the noise it makes. Ooh yeah. Let's talk specs. Now, as I said earlier, the SsangYong Chairman was a total flop in Australia. SsangYong originally brought it here thinking it would help their sales, but Australia was already moving away from luxury sedans like this. And it had some really fierce competition from Holden and Ford, both of which were cheaper. This thing started at 57,000 Australian dollars drive away. That was before you added the only option, the sunroof. And in today's money, that's about 80,000 Australian dollars, just over. That's a lot of money for, you know, this. But as I said, this wasn't really a Korean luxury car. It was a Mercedes. So yes, under the bonnet, you got the legendary M104 inline 6-cylinder 3.2 litre petrol engine. Now, for a naturally aspirated engine, its power and torque outputs are pretty good. 162 kilowatt of power, 314 newton meters of torque. That's decent, right? Well, yes, except it has to move, get this, a 2.3 ton vehicle. Yes, 2.3 tons. This thing is so heavy. And really, it's no wonder why. First of all, it's an old Mercedes underpinning, and you've got heaps of soundproofing, even in the engine bay. And as you saw in the interior, it's ultra luxury, no expense spared. So yeah, it weighs a lot, really bad on fuel economy, but how quick is it? Good boy. Let's take this thing for a drive and test. It's 0 to 100. Okay, so let's launch the SsangYong Chairman. I don't have hopes for this, to be honest. As I said, it weighs 2.3 tons. It doesn't have that much power. So I think we'll get there at a brisk pace. Okay, foot on the accelerator. Let's go. Felt the back end come out there a little bit. Okay, 0 to 100 in 9.42 seconds. Honestly, I thought this would be over 10 seconds, so I'm actually a bit surprised. It's not quick, but it's also not horrendously slow. Okay, so here we are driving the SsangYong Chairman. We got to get up to highway speeds. Let's go. Come on. Yeah. It's not the quickest car out there, but I'm actually pretty surprised because this M104 engine is not a new engine. It is quite old, but it still makes a good amount of power, good amount of torque. It does send power through a 5-speed torque converter transmission, and you guessed it, that's Mercedes too. And it's a decent transmission, definitely not the quickest shifting out there. It's fine. You know, if we put our foot down, takes a second, but it drops down a couple of gears. Now we're just cruising along the highway at the moment, and the first thing that you will notice sitting in here is how soft the suspension is. You literally are just floating along the road. This has to be one of the most softly dampened cars I've ever driven, and it's perfect for it because, oh man, it is so comfortable. Literally any bumps, imperfections in the road, you don't notice them. No adaptive dampers, nothing like that. It really doesn't need it. It is perfectly dampened as it is, even though it will fall apart once we start going through the twisties. I will say there is a bit of wind noise coming from the mirror over here, but it's not too bad. And this car has so much sound deadening, both underneath it, inside. It's insane. It's pretty damn quiet in here. No rattles or squeaks. This thing is very well built. One of the things I love is just looking over the hood and seeing the SsangYong badge up front. I don't feel like a sense of pride. It's just funny seeing it there. It's a real luxury car experience driving this thing. It is better in the back seat. The front seat feels just, I don't know, it almost feels a little bit compromised. Like there isn't a huge amount of room up here, especially when you compare it to the back, but it's still very good. Now let's give this thing a bit of sauce here. That noise you just heard is not actually the fault of the car. The previous owner, for whatever reason, welded on the fan to the engine. So to replace that, it's a bit of money. It's just not worth it on a car that costs this much. But when you're not flooring it, you don't notice it. So that's good. As we're coming into the twisties here, the steering is insanely light. This has to be the lightest, most disconnected steering I've ever felt. It makes sense in a car like this, but you can definitely tell that this car's underpinnings are from the late 80s, early 90s, which is when the W124 E-Class was sold, and this came almost a decade later. Yeah, you really don't want to floor this car. It's not meant for that. It's meant for cruising along, and for that, it's amazing. A lot of cars through here feel like this, and this is just, it's like taking it with ease. A bit of a tangent here. This is definitely the most requested car for me to review. It's funny because it's my car, but in every post I make, someone always says, what's happening with the SsangYong Chairman? So finally it's back. I'm really happy it's back. But you guys love the sauce. We're at Saucy Corner. Let's give it some sauce. Oh, we just spun out the back. Come on, baby. Oh God, oh my God. I don't want to oversteer. I don't want to understeer. Oh, it's just staying in third. It's not changing down. Come on, come on. No, it's building power so slowly. Yeah, the ECU is definitely not tuned for this kind of driving. Oh my God, the body roll. The brakes are quite spongy. They're really not the best. It won't pull up this car that amazingly. We're flooring it and it's a slow progression to 100, yeah. Look, it's not meant for it, is it? It's really not. But that's not what this car is about. It's about the charm, it's about the character. It's about the fact that it's a luxury land yacht. Absolute behemoth, and it's mine. 1 of 100, sold in Australia. Okay, let me give you my final thoughts. Okay, so what's my final thoughts on my 2007 SsangYong Chairman? Let's start with the exterior. It's pretty damn cool. Yes, it's looking old, but it's so quirky, everyone snaps their heads to look at it. The interior is incredible. It's old school, but it's old school luxury. That's the important differentiator there. The way it drives, though, is very old school. This thing is a boat to drive. Makes sense, it weighs 2.3 tons. It's got older Mercedes running gear in it. You know, reliable, but it's a boat. And I picked this up for about $5 You can get them for $6-7 now. I mean, they're so worth it for what you get. No, it's not the best on fuel, but for everything else, this is an awesome daily driver. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, just below that like button. If you're new here, please do subscribe. I'd love to have you around and I'll be buying more cars like this. Definitely click over there to watch one of my other videos. I highly recommend it. And as always, I will see you next week.